Shalint SC. Best of all, I like to hear him tell of his earlier days when he sold liniments and cuff kiosks in street corners, living hand to mouth, heart to heart with the people, and throwing hands or tails with fortune his last coin. मतलब वो वैसा था जैसे कि शी 420 में राज कपूर था ना पहले. I struck Fisher Hill, Arkansas, said he, in a buckskin suit, moccasins, long hair, and 30-carat diamond ring that I got from an actor in Texarkana. I don't know what he ever did with the pocket knife. I swept him for it. चलो बता. I was Dr. Wah Boo, the celebrated Indian medicine man. I carried only one best bet just then, and that was the resurrection bitters. It was made of life giving plants and herbs accidentally discovered by Takela, beautiful wife of the chief of the Choctaw Nation, while gathering truck to garnish a platter of boiled dog for the annual corn dance. वो अपने किस्से बता रहा है. Business hadn't been good in the last town, so I only had $5, and I went to the Fisher Hill druggist, and he credited me for half a gross of 8-ounce bottles and cocks. Gross. Cocks. I had the labels and ingredients in my valise, left over from the last town. Life began to look rosy again after I got in my hotel room with the water running from the tap and the resurrection bitters lining up on the table by the bitter. अब वो कुछ अपने किस्से बता रहा था. Fake, no sir. There was $2 worth of fluid extract of Chincona and a dime's worth of aniline in that half gross of bitters. I've gone through town years afterwards and had forts asked them for it again. वो अलग अलग चीज़ें जो थी ना अलग अलग लोगों को बेचता था मतलब इस तरीके से था. I hired a wagon that night and commenced selling the bitters on main streets. Fisher Hill was a low malarial town and a compound hypothetical pneumocardiac antiscorbutic tonic was just what I diagnosed the crowd was needing. The bitter started off like sweetbreads on toast as a vegetarian dinner. I'd sold 2 dozen at 50 cents apiece when I felt somebody pull my coat tail. I knew what that meant, so I climbed down and slipped a $5 bill into the hand of a man with a German silver star on his lapel. Constable, says I, it's a fine night. Okay. How you get a city license, he asked, to sell this illegitimate essence of sponju that you flatter by the name of medicine. मतलब वो कुछ medicine he was trying to sell. And the cop basically asked, भैया, how are you selling it? तुम्हारे पास license कहाँ पे है? I have not, says I don't know. You had a city. If I can find it tomorrow, I'll take out one if it's necessary. कल ज़रूरत होगी तो मैं लाइसेंस ले लूँगा. This thing is there. I'll have to close you up until you do. So till the time you get me the license, तो मैं I'll have to भैया तुम तो हवालात में रहो. You go into the jail. I quit selling and went back to the hotel. I was talking to the landlord about it. Oh, you won't stand no show in Fisher Hill, says he. Dr. Hoskins, the only doctor here, is brother-in-law of the mayor, and their work allow no fake doctor to practice in the town. कि भैया जो एक ही डॉक्टर है जो कि आपको सर्टिफाई कर सकता है वो तो ओनली प्रैक्टिसिंग डॉक्टर वो फेक डॉक्टर्स अलाउ नहीं करेंगे. I don't practice medicine, says I. I've got a state peddler's license and I take out a city one wherever they demand it. मेरे पास कोई डॉक्टर का लाइसेंस नहीं है, मेरे पास स्टेट पेडलर का लाइसेंस है. मैं जा करके ये चीज़ें जो है अलग अलग जगह बेचता हूँ. राइट. I went to the mayor's office the next morning and they told me he hadn't showed up yet. तो मैं अगले दिन मेयर के ऑफिस में गया. उसने कहा कि मेयर तो आया नहीं है. They didn't know when he'd be down. So Doc Wahoo hunches down again in a hotel chair and lights a Gibson weed regalia and waits. गया और मैं वहाँ पे ना एक रेगैलिया जिप्सन वीड रेगैलिया अपनी स्मोक करके मैं बैठना शुरू कर दिया. क्या बात है मम्मा, तूने तारीफ कर दी. ऐसे मत बोला माँ. By and by, a young man in a blue necktie slips into a chair next to me and asks the time. अब एक ब्लू में एक आदमी जो था मेरे साथ बैठा और टाइम पूछता है. 10:30, says I, and you are Andy Tucker? I've seen you work. Wasn't it that you put up the great Cupid combination package of the Southern States? है ना. और तो तुम क्या, तुम्हारा नाम एंडी टकर है ना, तुमने एक वो सदर्न स्टेट्स का जो कॉम्बिनेशन पैकेज तुमने रखा था. Let's see. It was a Chilean diamond engagement ring, a wedding ring, a potato masher, a bottle of soothing syrup, and Dorothy Vernon, all for 50 cents. हाँ, वो जो तुम गिफ्ट पैक देते थे ना, 50 सेंट पे मिलता. चिलियन डायमंड एंगेजमेंट रिंग, अ वेडिंग रिंग, अ पोटैटो मैशर. And he was pleased that I remembered him. He was a good street man, and he was more than that. He respected his profession. एंडी को अच्छा लगा कि भैया तुम्हें मुझे याद था. तो वो जो था वो बोला कि हाँ, वो एक स्ट्रीट प्रोफेशन को अपना पसंद करता. एंड ही वॉज सेटिस्फाइड विथ 300% प्रॉफिट. उसको 300% प्रॉफिट से खुश था.
नहीं, तुम जल्दी जल्दी पढ़ रहे हो. हाँ.
मतलब ये भी प्रॉफिट है और वो भी प्रॉफिट है. He had plenty of offers to go into the illegitimate drug and garden seed business, but he was never to be tempered off the straight path. बहुत सारे ऑफर्स थे कि भाई तुम ड्रग्स वर्ग्स में चले जाओ, बट वो गया नहीं. उसने कहा जितना मेरे पास है 300% प्रॉफिट है. I wanted a panda, so Andy and me agreed to go out together. I told him about the situation in Fisher Hill and how finances was low on the account of the local mixture of politics and jalab. अब उसने कहा कि भैया ठीक है, हम दोनों पार्टनरशिप कर लेते. तो हम दोनों बाहर निकले और मैंने उसको रास्ते में बताया, देखो पॉलिटिक्स और जलाब के कारण जो है ना मैं थोड़ा फंस गया हूँ. Andy had just got up on the train that morning. He is pretty low himself and was going to canvass the whole town for a few dollars to build a new battleship by popular subscription at Eureka Springs. अब एंडी भी पैसे मांगने आया था, उसे ट्रेन से बैठ के आया था और टाउन पे आया है ना. और उसने ये कहा कि भैया मैं तो पैसे मांगने आया हूँ कि मुझे एक नया शिप बनाना है, तो भैया मेरे को वो पैसे दो. सो वी वेंट आउट एंड सैट ऑन द पोर्च एंड टॉक्ड इट ओवर. अब हम दोनों बैठ के बैठे, भाई करें क्या, पैसे चाहिए है ना. इसको लाइसेंस के लिए चाहिए, ये तो अपनी ड्रग वग कुछ बेच रहा था, स्ट्रीट पेडलर लाइसेंस. और एंडी को भी अपना वो पैसा उठाना था. The next morning at 11 o'clock, when I was sitting there alone at Uncle Tom, and Uncle Tom shuffles into the hotel and asks for a doctor to come and see Judge Banks, who it seems was the mayor and a mighty sick man. तो क्या हुआ, अगले दिन ये लोग बैठे थे होटल पे, तो 11 o'clock का लो, तो एक अंकल टॉम जो है वो होटल में आते हैं और वो ये कहते हैं भाई डॉक्टर एक जज बैंक्स को जो है आके देखें. ठीक है ना. और जज बैंक्स जो थे वो मेयर थे. आई एम नो डॉक्टर सेज आई, व्हाई डोंट यू गो एंड गेट द डॉक्टर. तो ये बंदा बोला मैं डॉक्टर नहीं हूँ, तुम डॉक्टर को लेके आओ. बॉस सेज ही, डॉक्टर हॉस्किंस, आई एम डन गॉन 20 miles in the country to see some sick persons. He the only doctor in the town, and Ma Banks I'm powerful bad off. He sent me off to ask you to please so come in. अब हुआ ये कि इसको बुलाया इसलिए गया कि जो सिटी का जो डॉक्टर था वो 20 मील दूर चला गया था. तो उसने कहा कि भैया तुम आकर के करो. As man to man, says I, I'll go and look him over. So I put a bottle of resurrection bitters in my pocket and goes up to the hill to the mayor's mansion. अब वो गया अपने मेयर के मैंशन में गया. ठीक है ना. रिसर्क्शन बॉटल लेकर. The finest house in town with a mansard roof and two cast iron dogs on the lawn. दो कुत्ते थे और लॉन पे. वो बेस्ट घर था वहाँ पे. This Mayor Banks was in bed all but his whiskers and his feet. मतलब पूरे whiskers और feet के अलावा पूरा कंबल से बेड पे था. He was making internal noises that would have had everybody in San Francisco hiking for the parks. अब मैं सुन रही हो. अब उसके पेट में से जो अंदर आवाज आ रही थी वो ऐसा था कि गड़ 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 गड़, बुरा हाल था उसका. A young man was standing by the bed holding a cup of water. Doc, says the mayor, I'm awful sick, I'm about to die. Can't you do nothing for me? Mr. Mayor, says I, I'm not a ridiculous preordained disciple of Saint Q Lapius. Saint Q Lapius का मैं preordained disciple नहीं हूँ. I never took a course in medical college, says I. I've just come as a fellow man to see if I could be of assistance. I'm deeply obliged, says he. Doc Walkaboo, this is my nephew, Mr. Biddle. ये मेरा भतीजा है, Mr. Biddle. He has tried to alleviate my distress, but without success. ओ लॉर्डी आओ आओ ही सिंग्स और उसका पेट की जो थी ना हालत खराब होती कर दे रहा है। अम्मा सुन लो ना मम्मा, नहीं तुम सो जाओगे तो मज़ा मिस हो जाएगा। I nods at Mr. Biddle and sits down by the bed and feels the mayor's pulse. Let me see your liver, your tongue I mean, says I. मैं तुम्हारा liver और tongue जो तुम्हें देखता हूँ. Then I turns up the lids of his eyes and look close at the pupils of them. How long have you been sick? I asked. I'd taken down our ouch last night. Last night ही मैं जो था पूरा बीमार पड़ गया. Right, says the mayor. Give me something for it, Doc, won't you? Mr. Fiddledice, I raise a window shade a bit, will you? Biddle, says the young man. Do you feel that you should eat some ham and eggs, Uncle James? Mr. Mayor, says I, after laying my ears on his right shoulder blade and listening. You've got a bad attack of super inflammation of right clavicle of harpsichord. यह लंबा फेंका उसने कहा तुम्हें इन्फ्लेमेशन अटैक हुआ है चलो कल पढ़ेंगे